Have you ever pondered how society instinctively reacts toward individuals who diverge from its established norms? Not the loud rebels or habitual troublemakers, but the quiet, self-reliant souls who choose an unconventional route. Curiously, their mere presence seems to provoke an intense response. Here's what psychology unveils. Humans are naturally predisposed to resist what they cannot regulate, and nothing is more difficult to regulate than someone operating outside the conventional societal framework. For Sigma males, this translates into becoming inadvertent targets, not because they aim to subvert the order, but because their essence itself poses a challenge. Dr. Robert Chen observes that systems react most vehemently not to adversaries, but to those who demonstrate their irrelevance. This insight explains why Sigma males face such distinct societal pressures. Consider this. A rebel can be categorized and dismissed. A troublemaker can be reprimanded. But how does society deal with someone who simply opts out of the societal game altogether? Someone who attains success without conforming to pre-approved paths, who discovers peace without seeking validation from others. Let's delve into 7 startling reasons why society repeatedly attempts, yet fails, to undermine Sigma males. Not because they are inherently superior, but because their existence questions deeply entrenched assumptions about life's conventional script, and in doing so, they expose truths many would rather keep obscured. Part 1. Their independence undermines the social hierarchy. Every organized system relies on a crucial principle, the readiness of individuals to remain in their designated roles. But what transpires when someone steps beyond these invisible confines, not through rebellion, but by simply opting out? Social psychologist Dr. Sarah Miller articulates it aptly. Hierarchies sustain their dominance by perpetuating the notion that they are essential for success. When an individual thrives independently, it threatens the very bedrock of this belief system. This is precisely why Sigma males are perceived as a disruptive force by the establishment. Think about how society typically functions. Individuals climb predefined ladders, adhere to conventional paths, and seek approval from those in positions of authority. The promise is clear: comply, and success will follow. Then, a Sigma male appears, charting his own course, creating his own success, and proving that these societal ladders are far from indispensable. This independence provokes resentment from those entrenched within the system, whether they are corporate leaders or social gatekeepers. These individuals often attempt to coerce Sigma males back into conformity or undermine their accomplishments. Labels such as lone wolves or black sheep are commonly assigned, suggesting that their choices are misguided and destined for failure. However, here's what makes Sigma males indomitable. Their autonomy isn't a mere tactic, it's intrinsic to their being. You cannot shame a person into dependence when self-reliance is their default mode. Nor can you pressure someone into seeking validation when they genuinely do not require it. True independence isn't about confronting the system, it's about rendering it obsolete. And nothing unsettles a hierarchy more than irrefutable proof of its irrelevance. Sharp 2. Their success exposes the system's flaws. Society propagates a comforting narrative: follow a prescribed formula, earn a degree, climb the corporate ladder, purchase status symbols, and success is guaranteed. This orderly tale maintains societal compliance. Yet, Sigma males disrupt this comforting illusion entirely. What makes their triumph so unsettling is that it reveals the system's grand deception. You don't need to play by its rules to win. While others accumulate qualifications, chase promotions, and meticulously cultivate their personal brand, Sigma males often achieve more by focusing solely on producing genuine value. Dr. James Wilson, who examines success paradigms, highlights a fascinating observation. The most disruptive individuals within any system aren't those who fail to conform, but those who flourish without adhering to its constraints. This elucidates why successful Sigma males encounter distinct resistance. They are living proof that the proverbial emperor wears no clothes. Observe how the system reacts to their success. It cannot be dismissed as mere luck, as their achievements are reproducible. It cannot be attributed to privilege, as it is earned through genuine effort. Nor can it be labeled as rebellion, since it is attained without direct conflict. The only recourse left is to discredit it or argue that it doesn't represent true success. Yet here's the profound truth. Every Sigma male who prospers on his own terms creates a fissure in the facade of societal expectations. Each quiet accomplishment, each unconventional milestone, and every goal realized without resorting to political maneuvering serves as evidence that the prescribed path is far from the sole route to fulfillment. Because ultimately, the most formidable threat to a flawed system is someone who proves it unnecessary. 3. They can't be controlled like the masses. Fear, shame, and peer pressure are society's go-to tools for maintaining order. But what happens when someone is immune to these tactics? Sigma males present a unique dilemma because the conventional methods of control simply don't work on them. Modern psychology shows that most people's behavior is driven by either the fear of rejection or the desire for acceptance. Sigma males, however, operate from a completely different mindset. Their actions are guided by internal values, not external pressures. As Dr. Lisa Chin explains, traditional control mechanisms rely on exploiting people's need for validation. When someone doesn't share that need, those methods lose all effectiveness. This explains why attempts to manipulate Sigma males often fail spectacularly. Society typically controls behavior through FOMO, fear of missing out, social comparison, and groupthink. But how do you create FOMO for someone who genuinely enjoys solitude? How do you foster insecurity in someone who doesn't measure themselves against others? How do you exert peer pressure on someone who's perfectly fine standing alone? These tactics fall flat because Sigma males don't play the same game. Shame doesn't work because they're not seeking approval. Peer pressure fails because they don't fear being isolated. Even financial leverage has limited influence, as they prioritize freedom over comfort. This immunity to control isn't stubbornness or rebellion. It's the result of a fundamentally different source of motivation. While most act out of a need for acceptance or a fear of rejection, Sigma males act according to their internal compass. After all, you can't control someone who draws strength from what others fear. Number 4. Their detachment gives them true power. Have you ever noticed that the person who cares the least often holds the most power in any situation? This isn't about being cold, it's about something deeper, known in psychology as emotional independence. Sigma males excel in this area naturally. Consider negotiations. The person most willing to walk away often secures the best outcome. This principle extends to every aspect of life. While most people become emotionally entangled in results, drama, or relationships, Sigma males remain calm and detached. This detachment gives them remarkable clarity and strength. True power doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from mastering your emotional attachments. The less you need something, the more power you hold over it. This emotional detachment manifests in various areas of life. In relationships, when others engage in manipulative games, Sigma males simply disengage. In careers, while others scramble up corporate ladders, they quietly build their own paths. In conflicts, when emotions run high, they remain composed and objective. This approach often confounds others. They don't know how to deal with someone who isn't emotionally invested in their games. They can't manipulate someone who doesn't crave their approval or pressure someone who's entirely unafraid to walk away. Ultimately, true power isn't about controlling others. It's about freeing yourself from their control. 5. Their freedom makes others question their chains. There's a reason why a bird in flight fascinates those trapped in cages. When Sigma males live with genuine freedom, not just physical, but mental and emotional, it forces others to confront the limitations they've accepted, and that makes people deeply uncomfortable. Psychologists describe this reaction as cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort of holding conflicting beliefs. Observing someone who lives freely forces people to either question their own self-imposed constraints or reject the very idea of freedom. Watch how people react to someone who doesn't rely on a conventional job, material status, or social approval. It triggers discomfort, even resentment. Some people try to discredit that freedom by finding flaws in their lifestyle. Others justify their own limitations with phrases like, "That's just how the world works," or "We all have to compromise." What truly disturbs them is the undeniable truth that Sigma males embody. Most chains are self-imposed. Many limitations are unquestioned assumptions. Most prisons exist only in the mind. True freedom isn't about fighting the chains. It's about realizing they were never needed in the first place. And when someone demonstrates that freedom, it forces others to question everything they thought was necessary. That, more than anything, is why society reacts so strongly to Sigma males. They represent an inconvenient truth that challenges the very fabric of how life is supposed to be lived. Number 6. Their standards disrupt mediocrity. Have you ever noticed how people react when someone insists on maintaining high standards? Not perfectionism, but a quiet, unwavering commitment to excellence? This trait of Sigma males is one of the most disruptive in a world that often glorifies mediocrity and celebrates good enough. According to psychologists, when someone consistently upholds high standards, it creates a contrast effect. Suddenly, what was once considered acceptable starts looking inadequate. This explains why Sigma males often face resistance for simply refusing to compromise. Take a closer look at how this plays out. In workplaces, when they won't accept sloppy work or shortcuts, it makes others uncomfortable. In relationships, when they maintain strong boundaries, it forces others to reflect on their own compromises. In life, when they stick to their principles, it highlights how others have let theirs slip. Their high standards reveal the mediocrity that many have quietly accepted. Their unwillingness to settle for less shows how often others have lowered their bar. Their pursuit of excellence exposes the shortcuts others have taken. Society often labels these individuals as difficult, unreasonable, or even perfectionists. Why? Because it's easier to criticize high standards than to raise your own. Yet true excellence isn't about being better than others. It's about refusing to be less than you're capable of being. In a world that normalizes mediocrity, that quiet insistence on excellence becomes the ultimate disruption. Number 7. Their silence is more powerful than others' noise. In a world where everyone is competing to be heard, true power often lies in being the one who chooses not to speak. The ancient philosopher Lao Tzu captured this perfectly when he said, "Those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know." Watch what happens during any crisis or conflict. While most people rush to defend themselves, explain, or prove a point, Sigma males maintain a calculated silence. This isn't passivity. It's understanding that silence itself can be a form of power. Rachel Evans, a conflict resolution specialist, notes that in high-pressure situations, the person who remains silent often gains a psychological advantage. Their silence creates a void that others feel compelled to fill, often revealing more than they intended. Here's how this power of silence manifests in everyday life. During arguments, while others scramble to justify themselves, a Sigma's silence speaks louder than words. In meetings, while others vie for attention, the few measured words they do say carry more weight. In conflicts, while others are quick to react emotionally, their calm silence becomes more unsettling than any verbal response. This quiet strength terrifies those who thrive on noise and drama. They can't manipulate someone who won't engage in their games. They can't provoke someone who refuses to react. A Sigma's silence forces others to confront the emptiness of their own noise. What makes this silence so powerful is that it can't be twisted, can't be argued with, and can't be used against them. As the old saying goes, silence is the best response to a fool. Sometimes saying nothing conveys everything.